Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Real Cinema Show. My name is Rob,
I'm Devin.
and on this channel, we talk about movies we just saw last week and what we are excited to see this week. I want to preface again, however, that this is still a temporary set. You know, these curtains, they're wrinkly, but we're gonna get through it. The table is wobbly. We're gonna get through it. The microphone settings are probably not where they need to be, but we're gonna get through it. So,
As we all do.
Also, I do want to preface, however, that we are not professional movie critics. We are fans. We do this out of passion and love for movies. So take that with a grain of salt as we get into our first topic of the day.
And quickly before that, I just want to say, movie fans, specifically of the theatrical release more than anything, that's what we are most passionate about and most believe in, and that's where we want to have our focus most of the time more than anything else. Now, with that being said, I'll start with our weekend recap, as we always do. And the first movie that we both saw this weekend that I would like to talk about is The Crow. This is a 20-year-old, I think, remake of the original. Rob, what were your initial thoughts on this movie?
So to give a non-spoiler review, so I have no bias going into this movie, right? I didn't see the original, which I think, if you haven't seen the original, don't see the original. See this one fresh. See this one clean. So going into the theater, saw it preview night Thursday. I saw that the review embargo didn't lift until the day of. Usually is not a good sign. It kind of shows that the studios are not as confident in the movie as they should be, because they're trying to hide, I guess,
The bad reviews, basically.
Exactly, hide first reactions and things like that. So I was a little nervous walking into the theater, and I saw that it had at the time, a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes and like a 5.2 on IMDb. So I was concerned, right? But how I try to go about seeing a movie is what you're not guilty until proven innocent, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I go into a movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie's going to be good unless it proves to me that it's bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going, oh, this movie better be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fair. That's how I think everyone should go see a movie, with that mindset, right? And so sitting down, it starts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm liking what I'm seeing, right? Waiting for it to be bad, waiting for, these reviews to be correct, and the movie just kept going, and it just kept getting better, and it kept getting better. And by the end, I was like, that was a pretty good movie. It's kind of what I wanted it to be. I didn't have expectations or anything. So with that being said, don't listen to the critics on this one. I think that's what my takeaway. The audience score at the time was a 65%.
I think it may have jumped up to a 66, like when I checked recently, but I don't think it moved too much, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so with this one, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend seeing The Crow. Like I said, I think as of right now, the Rotten Tomatoes, the critic review is 19%.
Yeah.
I think if you haven't seen the original, don't see the original. See this. Take it on its own merits, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I think you made, first of all, you started by saying about how that the review embargo was not lifted until basically Thursday night previews come out, which is just a terrible sign. It means studios just want to get it out there, don't really think it's going to do anything. Unfortunately, it did flop. It only made a couple million against, I believe, a $50 million budget. So this movie's going to lose money.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So why do you think that is? Do you think the bad critic reviews is what kind of made this not, work as much?
I think that's part of it, when you don't have faith in your movie. And also, I don't remember really honestly seeing a lot of marketing in this movie. It's not like when I saw on TV or I saw a lot of trailers for it. I think the only times I knew about the movie was when I saw maybe a preview or two in theaters, and that's marketing to maybe 5 to 1% of the movie-going audience, when you're doing that. So not a lot of faith in it. And then when I saw the bad critic reviews, that always has me going, that lowers my expectations for a movie. But what it does is make me think, okay, I'm not going to see something much. So I liked it. I thought it was a serviceable vengeance movie. I don't think it reinvented the wheel. It was extremely gory and bloody in ways that I did not see coming, which made it entertaining if you love that violence and destructive gore and just chaos at times. Love, I think, is fair to say a big player in terms of a theme of this movie. In terms about like how far you're willing to go for what you loved, kind of reminded me of like a John Wick type of movie where you're trying to avenge your vengeance or avenge the one you lost. And I think that's what made it gave it an entertaining movie, nothing too crazy. And then I think those are my big takeaways from it. Kind of reminded me of like but with the fantastical elements, of course, that put it in a little different category. Yeah. But overall, an all right movie. Nothing too crazy for me. What would you rate the movie? Would you say, Rob?
So 1 out of 10. I'm honestly gonna say it's a 7.
I'm right there with you. I gave it a 7.3 out of 10. Yeah. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, better than a coin toss. You know, it's better than a 5.
Yeah.
You know, I recommend seeing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with that being said, let's get into our next movie, Strange Darling.
Yeah. What did you think of Strange Darling?
So my initial thoughts on this were, out of the 3 movies that I saw this past week, this is the one I was still least excited for. I was looking forward to it, but I didn't have much anticipation for it. It ended up being my favorite movie of the week. I really love how they edited this movie specifically. It's broken into 6 chapters, but they're out of order. And I think that's always a bold take when a director tries to do something like that.
Yeah. Because
it could be hard for the audience to follow, or you could have faith that his audience are going to follow it well and be able to catch up with everything that's going on. I think it was executed great. Like we talked about last week, it goes right away, doesn't wait. The movie keeps you guessing, and you're on your heels throughout the trying to figure out what's going to happen next, or just you're in the dark about what's going to happen next, really. And I think I said last week mistakenly that this movie was a true story. It turns out it's not, even though the movie starts off by saying it is, which I think is kind of weird. That I guess some movies have probably done that, Rob, where they try to say they're a true story, but they're not, to give it maybe a more darker tone to it, probably.
Yeah, I guess they're just trying to, give you a sense of, they're trying to make you feel more in the movie, I think. And if you're going into it thinking, oh, this is a true story, it kind of puts a little more weight to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just some
made up
thing. I like Strange Darling. Saw the trailer. We talked about it on the last week's episode. Fast paced, hallucinogenic. It felt like. So seeing this, I was refreshed with the format of how the story played out. It's in 6 chapters, all out of order, like you said, and it kind of reminded me of a Quentin Tarantino movie. And you can tell that this director was heavily influenced by Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino, I think like 6 of his 9 movies, or maybe even 7 of his 9 movies, it's in chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Not entirely out of order, but sometimes it is out of order. So I like that. And then this movie's violent. It went places where I thought I was ahead of the movie, and I thought I knew what was coming, and I kind of was upset that I was like, oh, this is where they're gonna go, and then they proved me wrong. They flipped it. They flipped my expectations. They did something unexpected at every turn. I think it's a really clever movie.
I think this movie completely throws you for a loop, and you really think you know what you're getting yourself into when you watch the trailer, but you really don't. How would you rate this movie?
Movie has style. It did feel refreshingly original. There's a couple things that the characters did that I did find that were dumb. But all that aside, I think I give this a 7 as well.
I'm with you there. I rate it higher than The Crow. I give it a 7.8 out of 10.
Okay.
And that, I believe, will take us into our final movie. I was able to see this one on the busy weekend. I saw Blink Twice, the new movie written partially and directed by Zoe Kravitz, starring Channing Tatum. I I forget what the genre is of this movie. It's I think it's kind of a suspense or thriller. It's slow to start with, and it finally picks up slightly in the second act with the little hints of what's happening. In the third act, it just goes, and it's a great third act, and it really, I think, saves the movie because the first act and second act were kind of slow. I think this movie would have been better if they bled the third act of this movie into the second act and did the third act a little bit differently. Still kept some of the main points of the third act, but just got along quicker. Zoe Kravitz was good at kind of giving you that uneasy feeling of something's a little off throughout this movie, and you're trying to figure out, okay, it's kind of this mystery of what's happening, what's wrong here. And then, like I said, third act redeems it. I gave it about a 6.8 out of 10. Really, that's pushing it just because the third act really
You said 6.8?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's where it really gets that rating because of the third act putting it in a good place. I'd say one.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of funny how people are comparing it to like Jeffrey Epstein and that she probably got inspired by Jeffrey Epstein's story.
That's a little out there. I could barely understand the similarities. Like
Just
very
like rich guy
on an
invites
island.
people with an island. Yeah.
That's about where it goes. Yeah, that's about where it goes. Nothing much further than that.
Okay. Cool.
I think for the main part. And now we'll get into our second part of the show, our trailers of the week. Rob,
Nice.
Megalopolis. What are your initial thoughts on the trailer?
So I remember they released a teaser not too far back, a few months ago. And this is a movie that I've been excited to see for years. Francis Ford Coppola has been wanting to do this movie for a long time. And obviously, he's one of the all-time greats. I drink his wine sometimes. I've seen, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula. So, when one of the greats comes out of retirement, I guess, you should be excited to see what he's going to bring us. And the first teaser seemed like oddly cheapy. It didn't seem, I don't know, like Francis Ford Coppola spent $100 million of his own money. This is not produced by a studio. From his
wow.
$100 million of his own money.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So yeah. So basically, he funded it himself, and then for it to come out or to look cheesy, or not cheesy, but cheapy, I was a little concerned. This recent trailer, however, with the fake AI generated movie critic quotes, which is kind of insane that they even let that fly. That trailer really surprised me. It didn't look cheapy anymore. You felt the grand scale of this story, and not to go on a whole tangent here, but I'm excited to see this movie.
Like you said, directed by the legend Francis Ford Coppola. Adam Driver, obviously the main guy in this movie, great, fantastic actor. You brought up the fake quotes that they played at the beginning of the trailer. I don't understand what the marketing idea behind that was. The guy who was head of marketing actually got fired for it because of this whole thing.
Good.
It's got a stacked cast in general, and not just Adam Driver. Everyone in this movie, it's just amazing. Like you said, the teaser trailer, I remember seeing that and thinking, looks like something, but nothing blew me away when I saw it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm really gonna see it. But this trailer gives us a lot better idea what this movie's gonna be about. Looks like it's almost some kind of apocalyptic type movie where
yeah, basically, like, from what I understand of the premise is this apocalyptic event threatens to destroy the city, and an idealistic architect wants to redesign not just the city but I guess society, which these are big ideas, these are big themes, these are things that I often wonder about too, not just if something were to happen, but just okay, well, life is hard. How do we make life as cool as possible? And I feel like we're just not doing that. This movie is like, what if we could do that?
I think that's what Adam Driver's character is trying to portray as as almost this godlike figure of trying to show us a new, better way forward. Whether there's this other side of like trying to keep things the way that they are, but things are crumbling as is. So, like you said, explores big themes, has the potential to be really just a big movie. I think I'm gonna guess this movie's gonna have a long runtime with. It's got a lot to explore and a lot of big storytelling themes in it.
Yeah.
So, movie releasing on September 27th. I'm looking forward to it now and hoping for a good time with this one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And then with that being said, we'll get on to...
Did I forget to turn that light on?
It turned off.
Oh, it turned off?
Yeah.
When did it turn off?
Like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, we're going to keep going.
On to our second movie trailer of the week. Emilia Perez, a movie that I've been looking forward to, I gotta say, for ever since I heard about it, I believe in May when it debuted at Cannes. It won 2 awards at Cannes for the it was Best Actress, but they gave it to the ensemble of Zoe Saldana, Carla Sofia Gascon, and Selena Gomez. And when you look at it, it's a musical, it's a comedy, it's cartel, but there's also a transgender story in it too, which is a lot of genres bundled into one. It looks absolutely crazy, and it's just a wild, wild time. Rob, what are your initial thoughts on this trailer?
So I just saw the trailer before we started the show, and it kind of looks like it's gonna be fun. It seems Oscar baity, like let's throw a dramatic story about these certain societal issues, but also let's throw in musical elements and violence, and it's this big whole thing. I don't really have many thoughts on it. I like Zoe Saldana; she's great, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Selena Gomez, is pretty great too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited.
When I read the synopsis, if I remember correctly, it says Carla Sofia Gascon's character, the Spanish actress, she is, I think, trying to escape the cartel, and she also wants to transition.
Okay.
Not just to escape, not like she wants to transition to escape the cartel, but she fakes her death.
Yeah.
And then transitions, which sounds like crazy. That's just in the synopsis, so that's not giving too much away. And this movie's releasing in theaters November 1st in a few theaters, and then it's got a full release on Netflix on the 13th.
Okay.
Nice. With that being said, we'll get into our final topic of this week, which is this upcoming week in movies. We'll start with really the main one of this week because there's not a lot playing. So, Rob, I'll let you start with the new movie Afraid that's coming out.
Yeah, so out of all of the movies that, are coming out on wide release this week, this one seems like it's the most prevalent. Blumhouse producing, kind of feels like a Megan.
Sorry.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, my cat. You got my cat back there? Apologize for my little Leo back there on the patio.
It's a fun little studio.
Yeah. Yeah, this is temporary, as we said. But yeah, it kind of seems like it's another Megan, where an AI robot is trying to, I don't know, kill the family or protect the family at all costs. With this, it kind of seems like it's like an Amazon Echo Dot that's like trying to corrupt the kids and be their parents.
I think that's a fair assumption. Blumhouse, that's their genre, really, right? Horror, making all the big horror movies. It's an AI assistant, like you said, and trying to like manipulate the kids, it looks like, and then take over. Lukita Maxwell looks like one of the main leads of this movie, which I'm looking forward to seeing. She stars in the Apple show Shrinking, which I love, and she's great in that. So that's another thing that has me looking forward to it. I feel like this is also the start of another subgenre of movies, the AI horror movie, kind of where
we're living in an AI horror movie right now.
You're probably going to start to see a lot more of these movies over the next few years. I feel like you've already saw one. At least I have. I've already saw one last year with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, where AI was the big villain of the movie, really. And I feel like with everything's going to AI, you're going to see a lot more of these movies, and they're going to become prevalent over these next few years. I feel like.
Yeah. No, I agree.
With that, Rob, is there anything else you're looking forward to seeing this week at all? Re-release or anything else at all?
Did we list all the movies that are coming out?
No, we have not.
Let's list that off.
So there are few movies coming out this week, such as Slingshot, such as Reagan. Slingshot's got Lawrence Fishburne, and it's a sci-fi movie, so it could be interesting. Reagan it's just an early life kind of documentary, or not documentary, but I think biopic. Sorry.
With
is it Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
So it's an early look at Reagan's life. 1992. It's a movie based during the Rodney King riot times. It's not based on a true story, but it's a story of fighting and like a fighting love story, kind of trying to get, I think, someone's son back, I believe.
I haven't seen the trailer for that. I probably should watch that.
Yeah, there is also it looks all right, like it has potential.
Nice.
Looks a little dark, but that is what the 92 rights were. There's City of Dreams about a young Spanish boy, I think maybe Mexican, who was got this opportunity to join a soccer team, or at least I think that's what his parents thought they were signing him up for. And then this kid ends up tragically being trafficked, and it's his story about trying to survive. This, I think I did say already, this is already a true story. Those are some of the other main ones coming out. The one that I'm going to see is actually a re-release, Shaun of the Dead. I've never seen this, and it's a zombie comedy. Limited re-release, but I'm looking forward to seeing something fun because almost every movie of the last 10 I've seen have been a horror movie. So something hopefully a little more lighthearted, even though it's a zombie movie.
Yeah, so it's definitely in the horror comedy subgenre. Directed by Edgar Wright.
Okay.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
I recommend everyone see this movie. The cinematography, the editing, the acting, the story. It's great. Yeah, I quote that movie a lot. Yeah, so it's a good time. You'll like it.
Awesome. With that being said, Rob, do you have anything you're looking else forward to besides Afraid, or is that you think it for this week for you?
Yeah, so this week I'm going to personally see Afraid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And with that being said, I think that's the end of our show, Rob. Any final thoughts you have?
What would I say? I don't know. This is a short episode.
I think that's...
We gotta. I'm gonna give you a question.
Yeah.
What movies, this year, that you weren't excited for, but you were actually surprised of how good they were, and now they're one of your favorites of the year? Is there any surprises of the year?
Surprises. Okay. I can't go. I don't know if I can list off the top of my head from non-anticipated to really loved.
Yeah.
But I can go from didn't know or knew a little bit, sound interesting, to loved. I got two in those kind of category. It's kind of different from your question, but
Yeah.
so the first I think that everyone should watch. It's a fantastic, probably still my top 5 of the year, is One Life. This is a movie starring Anthony Hopkins, and it's a true story. It's an emotional, powerful movie. I think it's maybe the first movie that made me cry, or one of. It's an Englishman during World War II in 1938, 1939, right at the start of it. He goes to Prague, and he's currently a banker at the time. But he sees the tragedy of these families. They're living in extremely poor conditions. Hitler's invasion is imminent. They know they're not going to make it far. Their chances of survival are not great. And he comes up with this idea with a few other people to try to save at least the kids, the poor Jewish kids that are living in Prague, because he can't save the whole families. So he comes up with this whole idea, and he ends up basically being able to save a lot of, because he basically comes up with this foster program where he could at least save the kids, not the adults. And the adults are like, all right, we'll trust you. And it's I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, because it's an amazing, fantastic movie. I think everyone should see One Life. And the other movie was The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, another World War II movie based on a true story. But this one, but this one is a lot of fun. This movie is great. The first and third acts, fantastic. The second act is kind of slow, but it's a hilarious time. This movie takes a lot of liberties with true story, but you just love. It's killing Nazis in hilariously fun ways. I think people have labeled it the cheap man's Inglourious Bastards. It's just an absolutely fun time where you just get to see Nazis murked in amazing ways.
Yeah.
And those are, I think, the two movies as close as I can answer your question as possible, I think.
Nice. Yeah, so for me, I would probably have to say The First Omen was a big surprise. When they said that they were making a prequel to The Omen, I'm just like, I've seen these movies before,
Mm-hmm.
And then after seeing Immaculate, so Immaculate came out the week, I believe, before The First Omen.
Okay.
Another nun movie that gets impregnated and
Yeah.
has to deliver this evil thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But The First Omen,
Yeah.
fired on all cylinders, worked in every way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I forget what her name is, the main actress. Let me pull this up really quick, because it is worth mentioning. the first Omen. Neil Tyson Free.
That was the name of the actress?
That's her name, Neil Tyson Free.
Oh, okay.
She plays the main nun that has to give birth to the Antichrist. Oscar performance.
It's a trippy movie. I did end up eventually seeing this movie. Yeah, it's a freaky horror movie of, like you said, like, was it 2 horror movies in like 2 weeks of these giving birth? Got to give birth to the, what'd you say, Antichrist?
Yeah.
Intense movie. All right movie. I didn't love it as much as you, but another horror movie. It feels like the year of horror where every other week another horror movie's coming out at this point.
Yep. And now that we're getting into September, there's going to be more. So I'm pretty excited.
Yep.
Horror is my genre, by the way. That's my genre. I love horror. Okay, so do you have any final thoughts before we close the show for the day?
I think that's it, Rob. I think that's it for the show. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe for more in the future. We'll have them hopefully every Monday as best as we can. And with that, I think that'll be it. Thank you guys.
Take care. Bye.